there, good peeps. Just want to drop a few lines here. Thinking about this case and thinking about all the different aspects of it, how far we've come, how far we still have to go, and all the theories, and continually being asked to speculate on what I think happened, what the theory is, what the, if David didn't do it, then who did, right? But I think it has to be clear, and I was thinking about this today, that, my goal is not to solve this case. I don't believe we can solve this case. I don't know who did it and who didn't do it and all that. All I know is that David didn't do it. I know that. But there's a difference between solving the case and getting justice, and getting the case reopened will bring justice. Now, the case does need to be solved. I will say that. It is definitely true. But it needs to be solved by investigators. It needs to be solved by some type of law enforcement, whether that be federal, state, whatever. We know that local didn't do it, and it seems they have no interest in solving this case, unless we could put pressure on them. And even if we do, I wouldn't really want them investigating themselves or reinvestigating this case based on the horrible job that they all did. It should be at a federal level at some point, I think. But basically the point is, we are not going to solve this case. The investigators can solve this case. I do believe that. We can reopen this case. We can help get the case reopened. That will eventually lead to finding out who did what and when, why, and how. But it's not going to be us. We could speculate on it, and we could think about what might have happened, who might have been involved, who has motive. All that stuff is good. That has to be done. It has to be brought up. It needs to be talked about so we can work through it. But in the end, it is not going to be us that solve this case. It has to be the investigators, real investigators. And we need to help them, to give them those tools that they can solve this case. And I think it's possible. I really do. But in order to even get there, in order to even really have a serious talk about all of that, we need to do what we can to get the case reopened. So speculating on theories, who might have done what, for me personally, is not going to help me at this point. It's not going to help me to try to build off of theories. And I think it's also going to hurt, at some level, it's going to hurt the investigators, the future investigators, who might go back and look at some of the work that we have done, and might be a little turned off about some of the theories that are brought up. And that's fine. That's okay. It doesn't matter if they're turned off or if they're turned on about anything. That's not their job. Whatever their job is, their job should be to investigate this case thoroughly, a real thorough investigation, and find out who did what. But in order to even get there, we've got to get to the point where we can get this case reopened. And if it's not going to be reopened at the local level, which we know that it's not, it has to go higher. I also wanted to remind everybody, and make sure that I remind myself as well. I want to remind everybody who's looking into this that this is not about you. Don't make it about you. This is about a very tragic thing that happened to 3 people, 3 innocent people. And it's very easy to just kind of mix in our own life, our own views, our own theories and all that into this. And you can't stop from doing that at some point sometimes, but I just want to make sure that we don't make it about us. It's not about us. It's not about us getting it right and proving other people wrong or anything like that. This is about getting justice. This is about finding the absolute truth in regards to this tragedy here. Now, we know part of the truth, right? Because we obviously know that David Crowley is not proven guilty and can never be proven guilty. It is a guess. Not even an educated guess, as they might say. Just a guess. But we start bringing in our own personal feelings, our own views and all that stuff, which you cannot help. But we need to make sure that at all costs we stay focused on what the clear goal is, and to make it about this family and about finding justice for this family, not about us, not about anything else. And I hope that's clear. I just want that to be said, just as a reminder. Keep it in the back of your head, and hopefully that will help. Hopefully these things will lead to us finally one day getting justice. And the first part of justice is obviously to get the case reopened. I also want to remind people that it's very important in a case like this to be honest, to be open, and to not be deceptive. It's very important. Everything that we do should be done with love. That includes being honest. So don't play games. Stay away from the people that are playing games, and don't feed trolls. Don't give them anything. Let them do what they do. That's what they're gonna do. That's what they want to do. That's their choice. That's their problem that they'll have to deal with when they meet God. So I just want to make that very, very clear that it is never a good idea to play all of these games. And if you do, and if you wake up one day and you realize that it's wrong, you ask God to forgive you for what you've done. You go to the people that you've wronged and you ask them. And that's all that you can really do. And hopefully it becomes something learned. It's a lesson learned. Those are the best ones. Because we need good people here. And we don't need people that are just trying to distract, trying to discourage, and trying to divide. The 3Ds. Alright, we don't need any of those. What we need is real truth seekers, real people that really care about getting to the absolute truth. That's what we need. That's all we've ever needed. And pacing yourself is not a bad thing. That's fine if you can solve this case in a couple days. That's great. That's wonderful. If you can do something that will help get the case reopened so that the investigators can actually do their job and solve this case, awesome. That's great. But it's also very important that you do it your way and allow other people to do it their way. Sometimes worlds collide. Sometimes people clash. Sometimes we're stronger when we work as a team, but not always. And it's always very important to know who is on your team to build a trustworthy team. And to remind people not to laugh, not to make fun of other people because they don't know anything, or to just spend all your time calling out other people for what they don't know. It's better, your time is better spent, from my view, your time is better spent just on showing people why they should pay attention to AVPD. That's what I think. There's enough drama in the world. There's enough gaga. There's enough, lying. There's enough all of that stuff. We don't need to add more on top of a case that is so serious. So it's very important to not get involved in these games that people play, to be honest and to do your best. Because every day you have to wake up and look yourself in that mirror and know that you did the best that you could. That's important. And if you got your own problems, try not to bring your issues into the group, into this case, because it is very, very serious. It's not something to be taken lightly. And unfortunately, it's not something that is just going to be solved overnight. I wish it would. I really do. But maybe somebody will wake up tomorrow and, solve it. But not really solve it, but at least get to the point where the case is being reopened, or at least their official conclusion has been changed to unknown. I think that will be a huge victory. I think in the mind and in the eyes of the general public, I think we've already won that battle. I think we've already proven that nobody can prove David Crowley guilty, and the ones that try are just spinning wheels, and are just doing it for their own purposes. But it's obviously not for truth, because there is no truth in that. We know what the truth is here. It's very clear. So with that said, just again, try to remind everybody, be honest, be truthful, don't be deceptive, don't get involved in the games, stay focused, and we will get there.